League of Hashinshin.
What is League of Hashinshin? There's another YouTube channel that just posts my shit. Aurelia has issues, and those issues aren't going to go away. I just wanted to see what Akali's win rate was. It's risen considerably since the hotfix. So you can argue Aurelia has issues, and she has issues especially at the lower ranks, winning games, and most people don't want to play a champion like her because they'd rather a simpler pick. And you can argue that she's not very fun, so people give up on her and don't really want to play her. What are these tier grades? Completely random.
Please follow me on Twitter.
No, let's look at this. So it rates Soraka as tier 2. It currently says, yes, Sett is better than Soraka, because it values the ban rate so high in tiering that it puts Sett higher than Soraka. I feel like this is the best example for why the tiering on websites like this is completely irrelevant. And most of the time, you're gonna need to get a high-ranking player to give you an opinion. Like, look at it like this. Camille has a higher pick rate and a higher win rate than Jax. Not amazingly higher win rate, but a decent chunk. But it goes, look, his ban rate is 6%. Camille's is only 1.8%. So he's a higher tier. What? The only thing it does right is put champions at lower tiers who have high win rates but low pick rates. But then it does shit like Rengar Sona. Basically the same pick rate, a decent chunk higher win rate, noticeably lower on the tier by 3 because higher ban rate. Isn't Jax ban rate just because of Jax countering certain champions? A lot of people don't like Jax. I mean, I shouldn't say a lot of people. Some people just don't like Jax. You can see by the 6% ban rate, despite the fact that Conqueror got nerfed, despite the fact that Spear of Sojin was literally removed, Jax maintains this huge ban, or sorry, I should say a decent ban rate, simply because people dislike him. Whereas Camille, despite being a strong pick, despite being buffed by Conqueror, Camille, no one even remembers to ban her. Jax will still kill the ADC even though he's inting. Well, no, but that's the kind of thing that people say when they ban Jax. So, you know, that guy right there, he's the kind of guy who bans Jax. Jax will still kill the AD carry even though he is inting. Yeah, okay. Does Olaf top win rate do high? Because very few people pick it, and they pick it into specific matchups, and because of Olaf's kit in those specific matchups where they pick him, he counters those champions very hard so that he crushes them and wins the game. And let me just go look at it. Okay. I looked at Olaf's win rate. Wait. I thought you guys said it was high. Not only is it not high, he's not even listed at all. So in Diamond, maybe? I guess he gets a 1% pick rate in Diamond. You can even see it in his win rates. It's because the champions that he beats, he absolutely crushes into a pulp. So he gets a high win rate. Hey, Olaf's good into Darius, who's popular. I don't think so anymore. I used to pick Olaf into Darius and crush him every time. But they've done a few changes to Darius. As well as changing Conqueror. And I feel like the Conqueror change kind of benefited Olaf and it kind of benefited Darius. But I feel like it benefited Darius more than Olaf. And importantly, I feel like some of the changes they've done recently have drastically favored Darius. So, when they buffed his Q healing and base damage, that really favored Darius. The other one was when his crippling strike got its damage buffed and his E got the armor pen buff. So I used to play about 2 seasons ago, yeah. I used to play Olaf to beat Darius, and now it doesn't really work. I mean, it works, but it doesn't really work. Has Darius ever been bad? Yeah. Every so often he gets bad. You know what's funny about the Darius change? the Q heal, when he was weak right then, I remember I was suggesting on my stream, I was like, you know, they should buff his heal, and they should make it so it's 12 to 16% on the first target, depending on your level, and then 12% to every target after the first. And then Riot buffed it from level 1 to 15% on all targets. And I was like, huh. It's funny because they like overshot a good chunk. They overshot where I thought he was going to be buffed to. And then they also buffed the base damage of his Q. Why does Darius have S+ for like 5 years now with 0 nerfs? So, Darius, despite what people believe, Darius is actually good for the game. Darius being viable is good for the game. Think of Darius like a forest fire. No, that's not a good comparison. Think of Darius like a wolf. That's a good example. That's a good one. Darius is a wolf. And every so often, he kills someone, but not really that often. But mostly, as a wolf, he keeps the population of bunnies in check so that they don't breed too much and take over. Darius kills incredibly cheesy top laners who would otherwise ruin the lane very frequently. He also ensures that top laners have to at least have certain qualities to go to top lane. If you remove Darius, things like Rengar top would start being way more popular. If you remove Darius, things like Kale top, things like Silas top, Malphite top would be way more popular. Yeah, basically, Legalized Zyra has a right. Between Darius and Aatrox, you basically keep top lane honest. The problem is even Aatrox is starting to be overwhelmed by some of the range power creep. Even Aatrox can't deal with it. It's like when the ghosts kill the Ghostbusters. There's definitely a reason for Darius to exist. You might not like it, but there's a reason for him to exist. And there's a reason for him to be top tier. And among other things, Darius is one of the only picks out of top lane, one of the very few ones who scales well enough, is strong enough early game to make top lane more relevant by brute force. By sheer force of will, Darius can make top lane more relevant. It is good to have picks who are good early game and late game from top lane. I just hate the Ghost Conqueror abuse on Darius. Yeah. I mean, they're pushing Darius into the jungle, so Riot doesn't have any clue what they're doing anymore, unfortunately. But then shit like Fiora exists. Fiora is the opposite of Darius, actually. Fiora is the complete opposite of Darius. Fiora doesn't keep top lane honest, she just ruins it. Fiora is the kind of champion to be like, oh, you want an interesting pick in top lane? No. But she also loses to all the ranged picks, so she doesn't stop ranged cheese at all. She just beats the shit out of a lot of melee picks who would otherwise be potentially playable. So she ruins, for example, Hecarim. You can't play Hecarim because he'll just get dicked on by Fiora. But then she loses to Quinn, and she loses to Kennen, and she loses to Lucian, so that she doesn't actually help the lane, she just hurts it. That's why I think Riot really needs to go in and start really looking at top lane as a whole. Like, look at top lane as a whole, as a lane. Look at it and decide what is healthy and what isn't healthy. So, like, if I look at Diamond Plus, and I'm going to look at Diamond Plus and not Masters Plus, because Masters Plus is where shit's tainted. Diamond Plus is pretty much the end. In fact, I'll go down to Plat Plus. This is pretty much where people are still playing what they think is fun, and they're not playing the meta whore. So, if we look at, let's say, the top 20, what are champions that are good and healthy for the game? Sett is decently good and healthy. Basically, Sett should be a little bit better into range, but he should be a little bit weaker into bullying melee early on. Mord desperately needs to be changed. So the two changes they need to do to Mordekaiser. One, you need to be able to heal on shields again. It's stupid as fuck that you can't. I don't know when they broke it, but it makes Mord way too good considering how much healing is in the game. Mord, passive 3% movement speed, to 3 to 9% movement speed. Passive, 1 to 5% health damage. Would make him far more balanceable. He'd be better against range. He'd be better at killing late game tanks, but he wouldn't get so much free damage. Darius is arguably fine. He's kind of a razor's edge of balance. He's very easy to go from overpowered to underpowered. It's very easy. He's like a seesaw with 2 huge rocks on each end, and they're trying to like perfectly balance it in the middle, and like adding anything just like totally just makes it flip out to one side. Ornn needs to have his passive scaled from pure percent health damage to flat plus percent health, so he crushes things like bruisers less well, but can do slightly better into squishies. He's way too good into bruisers. He's not good into squishies. Alternatively, they need to do something where like he gets magic pen on it, but the percent health is lower. JJC2, isn't that JJC2? Who do I know that from?